Speaker, I want to start by congratulating the Minister for the reasons she gave for introducing this bill. I think the reasons she gave to justify the increase were those based on health improvements for those who were quitting, and I believe that in essence that's the only way you can justify this particular piece of legislation. She didn't try or attempt to bring in other areas that the money raised would offset the costs incurred by smokers or to the public health system, etc. And I think it is good that she was upfront and honest in that respect. Having said that, there are a number of reasons why some ACT members will vote against this bill, not all ACT members. It essentially is not really good public policy. It is very much a tax on the poor. Cigarette taxes are highly regressive and they are disproportionately hurt poor people, poor smokers, that is, who continue to smoke. And I guess the Minister would say to me, to the extent that they don't, and she achieves that objective, she's made poor smokers who quit better off, at the expense, I might add, of poor smokers who actually continue to smoke. And I think we need just to think a little bit on that. The fact is that you cannot justify this, as some people might want to, on the basis that smokers, in fact, aren't paying for the cost of the extra health care that they receive or others, because they're already paying more in tax costs than the costs incurred. And there was a report done in 1987 where the tax, I think, was 980 million and the expenditure is 350. And I could quote, I'll quote, this is hardly a biased people. This is Smoke-Free Coalition and ASH. I'm quoting from their document, so I don't think they would underestimate this. And without trying to calculate a precise estimate of external costs, it does seem reasonably apparent that the tax contribution of approximately $1 billion annually by smokers exceeds substantially the external cost of smoking, etc., etc. Now, I don't want to place too much weight on that, but it seems to me that what it really comes down to is that you have to weigh up whether or not the benefits that might or might not flow from this bill against the individual freedom of an adult to make decisions for themselves, and whether or not the objectives of the bill can be achieved in other ways. And I have to say that it seems to me that the I know what's best for you mentality is running out of hand in this legislature. Price increases are aimed to restrict the freedom of New Zealanders, especially the poor, to make their own choices of whether they smoke or not. I mean, we run campaigns, we try to, but we say that hasn't worked as much. We're going to put up the price to a point that you can't afford it. Well, if you're going to do that, why not put it up by 600%? Why only 10% this year and 10 next and 10 the next? I mean, there is no logic. If that's the logic you're going to follow, why not put it up 500 or 600%? And you'd fix it at that point of time. And what really worries me, and I guess why I come down against the legislation, is that, to me, political life in this chamber is dominated by the view and held by politicians, many of them in the National Party, Labour Party, Green Party or the Maori Party, that the purpose of government is to solve private problems. That's what we're doing. Some New Zealanders smoke too much, we say, and therefore we're going to put up the price. The problem with that approach is that our flight from individual responsibility never ends. And I think in this country over the last 20, 30, 40 years, we have seen a substantial flight from individual responsibility. And I would be worried, and having praised the minister, it seems to me that the Maori Party run the danger that affluent Maori will be seen to be telling poor Maori that they are unable to make their own decisions. And I think a lot of Maori people, a lot of Pākehā people who are poor, they know what they're doing and they make those choices. They may make them wrongly in our view, but in my view, they have the right to do that.
A question?
Mr. Speaker.